Hey, it's Friday. That means it's time for this week's Raid Tournament sneak peek preview video. Each week on Friday or Saturday, I provide videos to let you know which tournament is arriving on Sunday. In this video, I will share this week's tournament, discuss defense strategies, share the winning defense team from the last time we had this tournament, and lastly, I will give you insight on the defense team that I'm using. So let's jump in and check out this week's event. We're looking at a 4-star bloody battle with no ice heroes. That's right, 2 weeks in a row without any ice heroes. As this event is a bloody battle, that means there's no healing or resurrecting. That includes any hero that adds health or regenerates HP or resurrects. As we discussed previously, one trick around the no healing is using minion heroes, since they put more HP on the board that protects our heroes. As this is a 4-star event, the only hero that adds minions is Buddy. Hopefully you got him during this last Santa season. The last Bloody Battle tournament we had for 4 stars, one of my viewers indicated that they were going to try running a 3-star Kvasir with maxed emblems. I did not hear how that turned out, but that seemed like an interesting option. So let's get back to Buddy. He is also an excellent defense down and attack down hero. As such, he is typically a good tank option, but this week he'll probably be better on flank, as we're going to want a fire tank since there are no ice heroes. The only other way to get minions on the board for 4 stars is through emblemed druid class heroes. For the 4s, that list includes 6 heroes. 4 of them we see here: Cadman, Gadiris, Gobbler, and Melindor. Of those 4, the only one that I would seriously consider in a bloody battle was Cadman. He's a fast sniper that removes buffs, and he's a druid. Melindor is a healer, not worth much this week. Gadiris also heals, and he's slow. And Gobbler, well, it's Gobbler. I've just not been impressed with Gobbler anywhere in this game. If you found a use for Gobbler that is fantastic, I would love to know about it. Please post it in the comments. The only other 2 4-star druids are Gillenbursty and Costume Sonya. Gilly is mainly a healer, so he's also worthless this week, and Costume Sonya is not an option since there's no ice heroes. Other specials worth considering in a 4-star bloody battle are those heroes that provide the 125% repost, the counter attack. One of them is Boral, but there's no ice this week, so that leaves us with the only option this week, which is Cyprian. So that 125% repost can be very helpful. Although he and his neighboring allies will take some damage, they're sending 125% back, and that can be devastating. So Cyprian's definitely worth considering this week. Another thing that we want to do with a bloody battle is just avoid taking any damage at all. We can do that through evade or dodge. It's basically the same thing. Costume Little John is the only hero that gives dodge for 4 stars, and I don't know that I'd recommend him just because he's slow for this week, and we want quicker heroes. The other way to get dodge is by any emblemed rogue class heroes. Now, the 2 that are going to top that list this week are going to be Scarlet and Khalil, since they're both fire heroes and they'll be strong with no ice on the board. Scarlet is my go-to favorite for this. Peters has the Silence, which is also excellent for a bloody battle, and he is also rogue. The only other rogue class 4 stars are Guardian Jackal, maybe an option. Danzaburou, possibly, but no. I usually only look at Danzaburou when there's no darks around. And then Brynhild, but Brynhild is also a healer, so I would avoid her. Alright, let's talk about our tank options for this week. As there is no ice heroes, fire is going to be strongest, and our number 1 go-to tank for this event is going to be Wilbur. In fact, he was on 3 of the top 5 teams as tank the last time we had this event. He is pretty stout, so he can take some hits. His average mana gets sped up a little bit by being in the tank position and eating a lot of tiles. He gives that incredibly important shared damage to everyone. Defense up 63% for the entire team and negative 44% for the enemy. These are the things that make him fantastic, and being in a tank is a great place for him to be for this raid tournament. Guardian Falcon is also a pretty stout hero. Over 700 shield from the basic card. Mine has some emblems on him, so he's up to 808. So he can be a great option for tank. Sumitomo can also pull it off, as he does the reflect that we talked about earlier with Cyprian just for himself, but he's also generating a little bit of mana every time he counterattacks. So he can be a decent tank. Sumli is an interesting option to consider. It's probably the only slow hero I'd consider for this event, but I definitely would want some shield added to that with some emblems. Speed always matters, but particularly so in a bloody battle where time is of the essence. So increasing mana is important. For this event, I like Sir Lancelot for doing that. He will increase mana by 24% for himself and nearby allies. Since he is fire, he will be strong with no ice on the board. The only real other option for 4 stars for mana generation is Danzaburou, and I don't recommend him for this particular event. If we're looking at attack up, again, we're back to Sir Lancelot. He is a great hero for that. He's increasing 48% attack for himself in the nearbys. Wukong is also a decent choice, but I would not use Wukong with Wilbur since that's 2 passive heroes. I try to only have 1 support hero on a team. I like to have at least 4 people that are delivering some direct damage. But if you're not running a Wilbur tank, a Wukong flank might not be a bad idea because he drastically increases damage output at that slight risk of missing occasionally. I ran Wukong as tank in our last bloody battle, and I had A defense all week, so do not underestimate Wukong's ability on defense. We should also be looking at heroes that reduce mana, and the queen for that in the 4 stars is Lai Zhu. So if you have Lai Zhu, she's also probably going to be an excellent flank for this event. And for mana control, we can always look at Hansel and Gretel as well, but I would not use them with Lai Zhu, since Lai Zhu takes mana away, and Hansel and Gretel both need them to hit max mana to have their full impact come into play. So never pair Lai Zhu with Hansel and Gretel. As we should always be considering defense down, there's a couple heroes we want to look at in addition to Wilbur. So Buddy would be another excellent defense down hero. I know we talked about him earlier. Now he will overwrite Wilbur, so you don't want to have him stacked with Wilbur because Wilbur's giving negative 44%, and if Buddy goes off, he'll change that to negative 34%. So don't run Buddy with Wilbur or Wilbur with Buddy, either way. Gormak is a fire hero that gives defense down. He's sort of a fire version of Grim, except he is a lot weaker on the shield. So I don't know that I'd run Gormak unless you have him beefed up on the shield so he can take some hits, especially in a bloody battle. And then Mist is a unique hero because she's one of the only ones, one of the only ones that offers defense down for special attacks. Since that is a different type of defense down, she will stack with Gormak, Buddy, and Wilbur, any of those 3, and she'll also stack with Guardian Falcon, who has elemental defense down. So you could theoretically have 3 defense downs on the enemy. That's something I'm going to be looking for in my defense this week. 2 other things worth considering in a bloody battle is how stout our heroes are. That defense and that shield, we want them both to be high so they can absorb a lot of damage before they die. Also, speed is important. We are most likely taking on some amount of damage every single turn, so time is of the essence. Looking at past winners of this bloody battle, no ice event, there is no slow heroes in the top 5, and that's for good reason. You want your fast, very fast, average mana heroes. All right, let's take a look at the winning team from the last time we had this event. This is kind of a interesting series of contradictions that just happened to work out. So Wilbur tank, that makes sense to me, strongest tank for this particular game, but as I just explained, I would never run Buddy with Wilbur because Buddy will overwrite Wilbur's defense down and make it lower. Proteus makes sense for being a mana control hero. I think that's a fine option. And then Mist and Guardian Jackal both are offering defense down. But what's interesting is the firing order, because Guardian Jackal is only offering elemental defense down, but would potentially be firing after Mist. So we would not see that benefit from Guardian Jackal. So I find it interesting that this setup worked, and sometimes things just work. Now, they did have a team power of 3951, so they obviously had a lot more emblems on their team than what I'm showing here on mine. But with an event with no ice, I would absolutely be doubling up on fire, not holy. So again, find this interesting that this worked. Kudos for them for taking first place with this. Not a team that I would necessarily recommend, and I wouldn't gamble on trying this one twice. All right, lastly, let's take a look at the defense team I'm planning on running this week. I am looking at combining all sorts of defense downs and some hard attacks. That is a heart attack, not a heart attack. Maybe it'll give somebody a heart attack. We'll see how this goes. So my defense team this week, Wilbur tank, as we've been talking about throughout this video, he is the tank of choice for this week. I'm going to flank him with Guardian Falcon so that elemental defense down will combine with Wilbur's regular defense down. And then my first fast wing will be Mist, who gives the special defense down. Those 3 specials will hopefully stack 3 defense downs together. And then I have the double Scarlets for hitting 3 enemies at a shot with fast mana. That is my plan for this week. Let me know what you think. Feel free to post some critiques, suggestions, observations. What about your team for this week? What will you run for this tournament? Feel free to share your team in the comments below so myself and other viewers can provide feedback on your setup. For this week's tournament, I hope your defenses are sturdy, attack strong, and tiles fortunate. Thanks for watching.